Welcome to Zeo Reviews. I'm Zeospantera, the host, and this is the Hiby R6 Mark III, which just the name alone, and then they got this like racing stripe pattern going on, and it's like, I wish it was continued on the unit, because it's like, I like race cars. This is $500. Here you go, ready for the summary? The Zeo should make shorts just instead of these videos, just make them real short. This is $500. I've just done 2 players that are $500. I did the FIO, M11S, and basically just threw that shit off the table into the garbage pail because it's slow and it doesn't sound very good and it was bad. It was bad. And then I did the Ibasso, which, my God, it's so clean and easy to use, and the feel in my hand is great. And it uses those Cirrus Logic chips and then there's the Hiby R6 Mark III, and it sounds the best out of all of them. Wallpaper in the description. Thank you for stopping by. Patrons, please, thank you for supporting the channel. No, seriously, I brought this to New York Can Jam because I had those other ones that I have like one more left, which is a Shandling, which is more money. It's like $700 or $800. So it doesn't really fight this. This one sounds legitimately the best because this one is legitimately Class A. In fact, it's got so many audio options that I'm sitting here on my desk, and I brought out a selection of both really expensive things, including I'm still wearing the cadenzas. The cadenzas work on this, but I've also brought out my beloved. If you guys, I don't know what order this is coming out in, so this might not be a thing yet, but don't worry, it will be. I've also got my collabs, my Z12s, and the Nana Z tunes. Here, in case you don't know these exist, because I didn't review the IM on this channel. Yeah, I have a Nana collab. You might want to check into it. I don't know, I'm just that kind of guy. It's not a flawless unit. Here's the thing. As far as hand feel goes, the Ibasso still wins. This is a bit of a brick. It's not as thick as like the other Hiby. Anybody remember the RS2? This is my baby I brought to SoCal Can Jam. So it's kind of telling that 2 Can Jams in a row. It's like, hey, Zeos, what portable player are you going to bring? Hiby, and then fast forward a few months, Hiby. Yeah, chonky boy, real short, dual SD cards. This had a lot of things going for it. And I haven't sold it, so obviously still in love. Also, I took both the SD cards out to use them in other players to test, so they'll eventually be returned. This unit, not super thick. It's not in its case. It comes with this clear case, which is very thick. It's actually like dark. It's so thick. But I'm a user of a machine. Like, it's kind of like going to a couch. Like, it's kind of like going to your grandparents' house and seeing the couch, and it's a beautiful couch made in Italy, but it's covered in plastic. I want to sit in the couch, lady. I want to take my pants off and sit on the couch. My grandmother didn't like that, but I tried anyway. So when I hold it in my hand, I've got the glass back, which is just covered in fingerprints, because if you're touching it without the case, the back is glass to allow for signals. The front is glass because it's a 5-inch, only 720p screen, it said. Looks better than that. I will say one of the negatives on this unit, because the Ibasso sort of fucks everything up as far as like the feel and the rounded edges of the Ibasso, and the screen is like better than my phone. And this comes across as better than the FIO, but still not at that level. Like the actual feel of it, the unit it's got no sharp edges or anything, but it's a very chonk design. It's a heavy brick. The thing is, when you're all Class A, it's okay to be a heavy brick. The screen is a little bit slower than I'd like. Like it's like you could see it's doing its thing. It's doing its thing. It's not quite on FIO level, but like the knob is up here. And I had some things to say about the knob, because there's only 2 ways you can use a portable player in my mind. You're either holding it in your hands like this so that you can next track and then play with the volume, and the buttons are on the side. 4 buttons, power / monitor sleep. You got a little indicator here showing you what's playing, if it's on. You've got your 3 unlabeled buttons, which also, one of the other issues I would have with this is I wish the middle button was either bigger or detented in another direction, because if you're blindly reaching, I mean, you could feel like there's a gap and you could feel like this is the start, but if you're looking for pausing, I would love if that was just a different shape. And you're not going to confuse it with the power button, which turns the screen on in your pocket. By the way, Jack Reacher, honest to God, one of my favorite movies, if not one of my favorite just Tom Cruise movies. The original Jack Reacher, not the second one where they introduced a kid. Fuck that. I hate that trope. Paused it. It went blue. So the issue I was finding out is 2 ways you could hold this thing. Either in your hand like this because you're a baller. I like when the units come out of the bottom. We'll have to look at the bottom. We'll give a little tour. But the volume control being up top and very flush, like they don't want you to accidentally this volume at all. But the other way you could use this unit is by dropping it in your pocket, because it's a portable unit and you're going to do that. If you drop it in your pocket, that means you're going to want to have the wire coming up, and that means you cannot access the volume control in your pocket. If it's on the side, like the RS2, there's still a chance, well actually, on the RS2 it comes out the top, so there's still a chance if you drop it in your pocket this way, you could thumb the volume wheel. With this, it's basically like, ha 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 ha, I hope you're happy. Let's unplug these and take them out of my head, even though I'm truly enjoying them. So now I'm gonna have to pull out the cadenzas every time I do a portable unit, because it's such a picky piece of shit. I love them. I love them. It's just, I'd say they get 90% of where they need to go on this, which is, trust me, a miracle. All right, so let's see, flaws. Let's just get the flaws out of the way so I can praise the shit out of it, and everyone, because I usually front load the praise then shit on it in the end. I'm gonna front load the shit so that I can praise it in the end. So the people who are just like, oh, Zeus, you love everything, will know that there are actually flaws I'm trying to help with. Screen's not the greatest. I've actually got it running in night mode, where it like takes away the blue, because if we take off that mode, let me see, I have to go into settings. It's Android 12, by the way, which is just, I have to bring that up because I complain about the FIO, and this doesn't have Android 10, because it's like, hey, why don't you give it like the newest Android so it could actually be good. Dark theme I've obviously applied, nightlight there. If I turn that off, I find it's too blue. Like it's just a little, I wish there was a color adjustment so I could just bring the blues down like 20%. Again, I'm not watching media on this. It doesn't matter if the color isn't as accurate as ever, but I mean, comparing to like my phone or the iPasso player, it just feels like this is very blue. By the way, you get a real Play Store and a fake Play Store down there. You also got an image viewer, which I think just brings up, in this case, yeah, all the album covers, which is kind of cool to flip through the album covers. But, you know, that's a thing. The standard Android has 1 or 2 add-ons. Flip vertically, which you can do this, and that would give you, now it has top outputting units, which again, that's great. And you could even still access the buttons on the side, but now the volume control is on the bottom, and it still doesn't fix it when it's in your pocket. Let's use it like this for a bit. I don't mind this. The SD card is here on the side. I guess unit tour, Zeos, timestamp. He forgets, this guy in the future. He's always like, God, I'm just so tired. SD card on the side, not a capped unit. That's fine with me. I don't mind the ones just click in. I don't know why some of them you have to like get a screwdriver and open a door. It's like, just, it's an SD card. We've been doing this for fucking forever. So that's there. The bottom has 5 holes, like your mom. Balanced line out, type C, phones out, and balanced. Doesn't say balanced, phone out, but balanced. And at first this scared me, because I'm like, that's kind of dangerous, because if you got to plug in a balanced headphone, but whoopsie, I had it the other way around. You're going to give it line out, full line out. By default, this unit does not have the line out fixed. You can actually, it's got something really cool, which I read on the page. Every single one of these outputs remembers its volume. And you can set it. It's currently set, I think, by default, that when you unplug a headphone, it will pause the music. So you plug it in, and it doesn't unpause the music. It's like, are you, figure out what you're doing. So I had the Abyss Dianas and the Tim Socks, which, by the way, I'm using the Tim Socks with the gel Daconis. These are the new gel. I think they're for, are they for Berdynamic? Anyway, they're just like, I reversed the thingy, and now it can just barely stick to the Velcro in there. And oh my fucking God. But these are hard to drive planars. Like I'm going to bring out the $2,000 and $4,000 respectively planars. You know, that's what I'm doing. How did I get off on that subject? Did I just fart? Who remembers basketball? So let's talk about this. So I plugged it in, and I was plugging back and forth in case it would blow up, and it didn't blow up because it literally remembers. You could set this to 100. It goes 0 to 100 the volume, which is, it actually freaked me out because I'm like, wait, where's 120? Because I just the FIO like big unit on the desk, and it goes to 120, and I'm like, why isn't it going to 120? And it's like, oh, because it only 0 to 100 makes perfect sense. Your Type C, it's all gold, by the way. It's all gold plated and looks fucking phenomenal. So, and the line outs are not intended to power headphones. They're intended to be line outs for other amplifiers. There actually is they'll do a coaxial digital out on this as well. But if you wanted to, and I thought this was kind of an interesting little tweak you could do, is you have 4 headphones. You could use them in the line outs. It's not recommended because it doesn't have the amperage, but on a light, easy to drive. And you could plug it in and it would remember what your volume setting was per hole. Ooh. Also, the Type C here, this is an 18 watt fast charge. So not quite as high as like my Sony phone, which was like 30 watts, but it'll handle a fast charger. And on a portable unit that, you know, you may only be like, oh shit, I forgot to charge it. That 4 minutes at 18 watts is going to make a big difference. I haven't gotten used to the upside down. I haven't gotten used to the upside down yet, which, speaking of the upside down, boom, let's put on some Stranger Things. So yeah, the Tor was nothing but a slot here. I like the fact that they gave it just a little tiny little lip here, little ledge. They made a little roof. The bottom full of holes. This side, we've already really discussed the buttons. There's nothing to talk about except for the fact that that one needs a better indication. And the top has nothing but the volume knob that is recessed. It's not a push down. And if you touch it, you could then just screen wield up to 100. So it depends on how you do volume. I personally, if I have to go a lot, I would simply just like nudge that, and then just do the screen. Let me think. I'm gonna actually like that song. Put that in favorite. So I guess we should now talk. So what else do I not like? When Zeos has to sit here and actually think, okay, what don't I like? All right, well, the design is sort of like bland, like as far as like the build. It does come in silver or gray, they call it, and I think I would probably take that over the black. I like the gold colors. The screen the screen at least fills the fascia of this. I have a huge issue if you're making a device and it's like, well, I mean, the Hiby, this one, the little RS2, was only half the size of that, but it's also not running Android. This is running full fuck you Android. I'm turning off the flip vertically. It's freaking me out. It's literally freaking me out. The audio options. We got to talk about audio options, and I want to do that while listening to something. What do you want to listen to? Something affordable? Z12s? Or maybe the Nanas? Ooh, there's so many choices. You know what? We'll go with something affordable. If you don't know what these are the Thiodio Ghosts, specifically using the Meze 109 pads. Plug it into the phones out. Currently, the volume is now set to 14, and now it's down to 57. As soon as you plug it in. And actually, it did start auto-playing, which I did not ask it to do. All right, let me think. How do I want to do this? So, the way they've integrated this into the music app, the phone is basically an extension of the music app. Because if you go in here, you pull down, you go to fucking audio settings, it brings up your filter settings, your amplifier operation, which is either Class A or Class AB. I don't give a shit about murdering the battery, which is lasting a long time. I started this review at 80, or I looked at it, the last time I looked at it like 10 minutes ago was at 80, now it's at 77, and we're on Class A. Gain is on high, you only get 3 gain settings. Again, that's fine. The FIO unit had like 6 gain settings. It's like, that might be too many gain settings. You know what? I'm going to get distracted. I'm just going to talk about plugins. This has fucking plugins. And I'm like, well, Zeos, what are you talking about? Plugins. In the Android unit itself, which means it should work for if you use other apps, you can install plugins, including convolution, which is basically corrections, fixed sample rate, sound field, which I have here but not enabled, and now it's enabled, and balance. You could adjust the balance. The sound field is a width enhancer. So if I go down to 0, it makes the sound mono. And if I bring it up, I think it defaulted to like 125 or something, or 1 is 1.0 it. There's no way to hit default, so I don't remember what the actual default was. But you could slide this over, and just for this reason, This could be the best player ever, despite the fact that the Class A amplification and none of this bullshit, and it sounded the cleanest and smoothest and most high end of the sound of a portable. Like, I think it may even beat this bastard. In fact, it probably should, because it is a newer unit. I like this one because it runs for like 80 hours because there's no Android. But the fact that there is it says what's available, so there's going to be more plugins, presumably. This just came out a month ago. So you can adjust the sound field and actually make the sound stage wider. Why not? What's your argument against that? It's your player. It's your music. You're literally loading it with your music, and you could plug anything you want into it. Why wouldn't you want the ability to fuck with it? And if we're going to go about fucking with it, I'm going to disable the sound field. It's plug-in applied, but it's disabled. I'm going to disable to get out of here because we need to talk about other things. We need to talk about MSEB. We'll finish this. Bottom top, MQA decoder, disabled. Ha 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 ha. Volume control, direction, clockwise is fine. You can set the max volume below 100. You can set your channel balance, your DSD gain compensation, whatever. The Class A, Class AB, we'll talk about that for a second before I move into MSEB. Class A means this unit, no matter what headphone or IM is plugged into it, is running full tits. It's going to murder your battery, but it's going to be the cleanest, most acceptable. That's what Class A always means. Class A amplifiers, which this is real close to Class A, basically means no matter what's happening, it's outputting all the way. You're just adjusting the gain on it. It's just always outputting, so you don't miss. The argument is, if I had to dumb it down, is that because it's running Class A, you can't miss any fine details, because Class AB, which is the other option, when you hit that, basically disables the amplifier where there's no sounds happening or low sounds, and it raises and lowers. Class A is just, it's like running your car at 7,000 RPM all the time, and all you're doing is adjusting the clutch. Like, that's how you get the fastest. If you don't have to bring the revolutions of the engine up, if they're just up, and you're just like, connect the wheels, and you fly forward at 5,000 miles an hour, that's what Class A is in the audio world. It's running your car at full fucking revolutions and then just attaching the wheels to it. Where Class AB is like, oh, I'm gonna throttle it. So is there a difference? I'm having a hard time literally telling them apart on all these devices, but I'm a badass, so I'm just gonna leave it on Class A and ruin the battery. Like, it should ruin the battery, and it's not doing it to the point where I'm like, well, I'm impressed. Like, if a battery lasted 30 minutes on a Class A, I'd be like, yeah, now we got something going on. But it's honestly, this unit sounds pretty much peak no matter what I set that to. Gain on high, because of big headphones, I'm actually gonna set it to medium. I'm sorry, not medium. Low, middle, and high. We're gonna set it to middle. And so I'm gonna go Class A, middle gain, and we're gonna talk about MSEB real quick, because I could just spend 40 minutes on this. MSEB is for the tweaker motherfucker in all of us. So it's not just Class A, B, or Class A, and it's not just high, medium, low. It's you could load tuning styles, which I don't know how to even inject this, but there's local and online. I'm hitting the online. I don't know what it's gonna do. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm so glad I hit that button, because that very first one says hot monster output. I'm gonna hit it. I have, honest to God, this is the first time I've gone to that button, and it is connected to my Wi-Fi, so somewhere out there in the world, someone may, I'm gonna hit the question mark. None. There's no information on hot monster output. Out-put. Okay, what does that do? So here are all the settings that apparently adjusted. Cool, bright, overall temperature. So sound temperature, if you say you have a warm amp or a cool amp, like the 789 is a very cold, lifeless, like just dead amplifier. Cool. Rebel amp here, which, by the way, future collaboration coming. Also with a black chassis, which I told him, how many of these you got to sell to get to a colored chassis? And it's like, we're going to sell all those so we can get the colored chassis again. But Rebel amp thing coming. So that's a warm amplifier, because it's Class A, and it just sits there and makes it go, ah. But you could actually adjust that in a fucking dial, a DSP, from cool and bright to warm and dark. So this apparently makes it 5 temperature, 21 bass extension, 15 Bass texture. Note thickness is down to -20. Voice is +23. Female overtones is +23. Sibilance low frequency is 19. Sibilance high frequency is 17. Impulse response is set to 19 and air is set to 26. So I literally loaded some asshole's fucking thing. It just tells you how to double tap to get to the middle. So now it's on, and I guess I'll turn up the music. It definitely sounds different. Oh, it's throaty. This is different from like just saying an EQ. That shit has almost nothing. There's some EQ stuff in there. It's on low frequencies and high frequencies, but it's like, it's kind of like if you had your own convolver filter that could do phase shifting and stuff, but they're just naming it something they feel like you should understand. So now I've got this. Oh, that is a monster thick output. I don't remember the name of it, but it's like, this is Deadmau5, and I'm listening on the fucking Ghosts, which are not like the bassiest of headphones, but they're nice and smooth and rich. And they are now, you know, I'm gonna go for something more crazy. Let's see what the Tim Socks, because these are nice and neutral, and even these fucking Dianas are sounding fucking peak on this, near 100 gain, but at the same time, that's fine. But the Tim Socks here, these are marketed as reference. And when reference comes out, that means that basically, no, you don't want it to actually. So we got to change the gain. I wish it had the pull downs just tap for gain, because I think it's flip vertical. Oh, there it goes. There it is. And it just cycles through. Excellent. Oh, thank God. I was worried I was going to actually go into a menu. That's like some peasant. Our volume is set to 50. We're now on high gain. Dude, even at low volume, I could hear what that's doing. I don't know who can make those filters. You can make your own. You could adjust those little sliders and save it. I don't know if you could upload that to the cloud. So they'll give you like Z's preference for just like a blah, blah, blah. I don't know how you spell that, but that would be my preference. It's doing weird things to the sound. So basically, this is a no-brainer buy, because it's $500. All right, that's right around the price. Everyone's like, I want to buy a decent DAP, digital audio player. That's what this is. By default, with none of this other bullshit, not even recognizing the fact it's Class A, this sounds probably the best of any DAP I've used up to this point. 2023, technology's ticking ahead. This has, oh, what was the thing? I gotta go to the, I'm going to the thing. Here, we're gonna scroll down. How do we get out of specifications? We want to get to, oh God, reload this page. Reload the page, because it's going to have a million things to say. Audio commentary, reviews and unboxings. Why are mine there? So we got dual ESS, plentiful Class A. There was a thing it said, it had like full, maybe it was on the, I'm going to link to both Hi-Fi Go and Direct, depending on how you want to do it. You know, system-wide bit-perfect audio, which is interesting because that means no matter what application you use, it isn't like you need to use the Hiby app to play it. It'll work. Anything on the phone will fucking work. You open up the goddamn YouTube app and it'll be bit-perfect. Snapdragon, the 720p display is fine. The 4,500 milliamp hour battery is more than fine. We're down to 74%. I'm not playing it constantly, but it's still in Class A, and that doesn't matter if you're playing it. It's murdering your battery. Noise floors, voltage swings. I'm just reading things now. HibiCast. HibiCast is nice. HibiCast works the best out of the, like the Shanling one is just hot toddy garbage, and the Feel one is just okay, where it like clones on two different devices. Don't really need it for this, because you're going to pull this out and use it. You could have the Hiby app on your phone, and then you could use your phone to control what's in your pocket, and that wouldn't mean you don't need to worry about the volume control, although I probably still would. Anything else here that I forgot to mention before I go into my wrap-up? Quick Charge I mentioned. mkIII I didn't mention, because fuck mkIII. Qualcomm Snapdragons do. Yeah, you know what? I think this is the no-brainer. It's just the no-brainer. Because before all the other bullshit I talked about, replay gain. I have replay gain on in this. And it has that option of like, what if it doesn't have replay gain? Would you like to -6 it just to make sure you have replay gain on? Before the Class A, Class AB, before the MSEB tuning options, which I have to remember to turn that off, or I'm going to plug something into this at an audio show and be like, huh, this sounds really deep. And that's not what's it. Before any of that, this is the best sounding DAP for this money. I'm sure when I get to that like $1,000 Shanling, it's going to be like, okay, now we've got up another level. There's always another level somewhere in the prices of fucking things. But at $500, doing 3 in a row, doing the Ibasso, which still has a better experience like navigating around and minimizing and where the volume knob is and the clicks, that doesn't sound as good as this. That isn't as warm. That doesn't have the Class A. It just doesn't. Do I still recommend it? 100%. You have to make the choice. Do you want the best sound quality, but like a big heavy brick, or do you want like a smooth, easy to use player? And we don't even have to talk about the fucking FIO. We just literally don't have to talk about it. So yeah, no, and it does get like, it does enough delicacy for, well, those aren't delicate IMs. Those are wild boys. But like the Z12s and certainly the Nanas, just like a little bit, there's a little bit of delicacy through them. The Nana Z-Tunes with my fucking logo they put in there. I didn't ask them to do that. They did that. I'm like, all right, it's your choice. It's my IM, but it's still your IM. So yeah, I think I'm giving the full beans to this. It's not as exciting to look at as some other portable players. Oh my God. Yeah, I might putting it in the case. But zero things to complain about the sound. And I'm still running these and these. These Tim Socks are not... Oh God, lower. Oh, that was... You know, I'm in the 90s on high gain with replay gain, which lowers the volume, and it's still running both of these. Both. So yeah, no. I'd say if I did a Doug DeMuro style Doug score, the weekend category, this would have probably lower scores because it's not as nice to hold. But holy fuck, the daily category, that sound quality is just... It's a Rebel amp, but cleaner. Just shove your A90D and a Rebel amp made a baby and shove it in there. Wallpaper available in the Horde. Please support this channel if you can. It's 2023. I've been doing this for 10 years, and it relies heavily on people like you. So Patreon and Subscribe Star. You'll get to see these reviews early, participate in yard sales, and listen to lossless and all sound demos now because I stopped putting them on YouTube because fuck it. Daddy YouTube doesn't get to play with everything I do. So sound demos are available to supporters. Yard sales, 1st to the 10th of every month. I buy, sell, and trade gear. I'm going to have to decide if I'm selling that DX170 because I love it, but at the same time, this just raw sounds better. Raw. Wallpaper's in the Horde. I said that already. And for $10 a month, you get to the private behind-the-scenes Telegram chat where there's actually going to be... You're not going to... By the time this video comes out live, you're not going to be part of that. But they can ask me any questions they want. There's a swap meet where they can get into for life once you're in that. And also my C Audio Rincos, which is the next collab. We're going to have a special event where we're going to sell a bunch of Rincos just to the patrons, just to get a broad experience of like 30 units. So they're going to give them like half price. Like, here, try these. What do you think? Because we need a small enough test group of people who actually don't care about measurement stuff to just analyze and say like, you know what, this sucks, or this is great, or I'd rather have this. And we're going to take that and roll that into the thing. So if you want to be part of that sort of level, of that back end of Z reviews, $10 a month, get you in the private behind-the-scenes Telegram chat. And with inflation, that's as much as a gallon of milk. Oh my God, I paid so much for milk. Anyway, I'm done, you're done, we're done. Thank you. I'll link to all this crap and this mouse pad, which you know you've been looking at the entire time. This is my guaranteed click. People want cool mouse pads. That's the one thing they want. They want to go down the road. The cool retro road. Anyway, I'll see you in 2 days with something else.